you, so the other version of the EPA Metadata Editor is 3.2, and it, let's go back here to the, so it's also desktop, but it's creating FGDC, and it's the one that requires Microsoft Access for the back end. They both actually integrate into our catalog if you want that kind of function. So the FGDC one, basically you add, now I have 2 EPA metadata toolbars here. And, but for those of you that don't have ArcGIS, you can also run it from just from the start menu, and you have basically the same look and feel with a lot more things to fill out. And again, the help on kind of every spot, like what do I put here? And again, you can pull in an existing metadata record. I think that's a really good approach, is if you find something, if you have one that's already existing or something that's similar, that you can pull in and then edit it. So with the EPA Metadata Editor, you can actually remove, which is what I did here. There's a little thing that looks like an eraser to basically remove all of the metadata from your record. And then you can import, what I'm going to do is I'm going to import an existing record that's pretty similar to what I want. Okay, and then the trick is with the ARC catalog, you have to refresh because it doesn't automatically show you that it's updated. Okay, so what proof metadata? And then you can, there's a little bit, there's another sort of little gotcha with these tools, and I can't say that I've explored them, you know, so thoroughly that I could tell you the best way to go. But with, as many of you probably know, the ArcGIS, Arc Catalog Metadata Editor, has its own way of dealing with things and its own formats. And you can set, for example, in just the base or catalog without these EPA editors, you can go into our catalog options and you can select the FGDC standard as how you want to edit. But the stuff, when you work with the EPA Metadata Editor, it actually kind of has this, there's this area kind of way down at the bottom that says FGDC metadata read only, and that's really where the content that you're working on is going. And then some of it gets synchronized up above, but there's a little bit of a weird interplay between the two. But you know, for the most part, that definitely doesn't matter for the West Coast Ocean Data Portal, because what the portal needs is a standalone XML file. But for your like company, business, agency workflow, that's something to consider. So anyway, so if you're going to edit with the FGDC Metadata Editor, there's a little button that says Edit FGDC Metadata, and then poof, there's all the content that I just brought in, and I can, again, edit whatever I want. And then if you want to customize, again, things like contacts and stuff, you know, they have a huge list of contacts from the EPA, which is probably not pertinent unless you work for the EPA. But they have a way of customizing it through this Access database. So if you, there's a menu item that says Tools, and then Open Database. And then in Access, if you're, again, this is sort of diving in a little deep if you're not that comfortable in databases and stuff. But there's a couple key ones like keyword user. Again, if you add things to this table, then it will show up on the interface after you refresh it. And then contact information is another table where I modified it so that the portal contact and my contact were in there. So I think that's similar to the other tool, but slightly different because you need to use Access. And again, for this, sometimes where it says mandatory, it's actually mandatory for the EPA and not necessarily the standard. But yeah, so I think that's what I'm going to cover on there. I'm going to move on a little bit. And so you can export, again, if you save your file, you export it to an XML.